Hello humans, welcome back to my makeup room. My name is Martha if you've never been here before, and I post makeup related videos 3 times a week, except for last week because I'll be honest, my shift work was totally messed up. I had 0 sleep schedule, so I missed a couple uploads. But we're back again. And today we're going to do a tag. This is the Palette Lovers tag. I don't know who created this tag, but I saw Alejandra Lisette's video on it, and who did she collab with? Did she collab with someone? She might have collabed with Katie, whose username escapes me, but I will link them both down below if I'm correct. I better be correct. But anyways, so today we're going to do this tag. It's all about eyeshadow palettes. Question number 1. A palette that you regret you didn't buy. I'm going to do a little throwback here, and I am glad in hindsight that I did not buy this palette. This is the, I'll put a picture up here, the Kat Von D Saint and Sinner palette. When this palette came out, I was totally enthralled by it. I thought it was beautiful. The packaging was gorgeous. I thought it was fantastic. I'm glad I ended up not supporting the brand because I didn't want to support, because nearing the end of this individual's relation with the brand, Kat Von D, I am glad I didn't give her any more of my money, but I was super in love with this palette. I liked the colors. It was kind of more grungy colors, but at the time, it wasn't my makeup style to be colorful. Things have changed, clearly, but it is something I do kind of wish I had now. I have seen some used ones come up on Poshmark, and I have thought about buying them, but I'm not going to pull the trigger because I know how old those palettes are. I guess they're maybe not that old. They're at least 2 or 3 years old already, and I know eyeshadow doesn't go bad per se right away, but especially with a palette that has been used by someone else, I don't really want to risk that factor, if you know what I'm saying. Next up, we have a palette that you regret buying. I'm going to insert a picture again. This is the Lethal and Jolina palette, and I don't have it with me. It's downstairs, and I'm not going to go get it because I'm lazy. But this is a really beautiful palette. The shadows perform nicely, but it's not unique to my collection. The mattes are a lot warmer than I would like, and I know I only bought it because I like lethal eyeshadows and I wanted to support the brand. Having not reached for it very often proves to me that my first instincts of the palette, that it wasn't a perfect fit for me, were correct. So I do regret purchasing that one. It's not a bad palette. Lethal Cosmetics shadows are great. They're not the same formula as the singles, I don't think, in my opinion. But just the color story isn't exactly my thing. And the colors that I do like, I have elsewhere. Alright, now the rest of the palettes I have in front of me. A palette I haven't used as much as I thought I would. That would be my I Heart Revolution Tasty Avocado palette. This is a great... Let's see here. This is a great blue-green palette, especially for my personal taste, because there's hardly any dark shimmers. I think there's only just this one like bronzy brown color, but everything else is fairly light, which is my personal preference. I don't like using dark shimmers on my eyes. I just think I'm too fair and my eyes are too small for me to pull that off on a regular basis. Not saying never, but you know. But I do really quite enjoy the color story on this guy, and I want to play with it more, but I just find that every time I really am feeling like, ooh, today could be the day. I have something kind of new that I want to focus on, or I'm working on a project. Like right now I'm trying to use all of my single shadows, so my palettes are on the back burner. So I still really love this palette. It's fine quality. There's nothing wrong with it. I love the color story, but I just wish I've used it. I just want to use it more. Next is your favorite half neutral, half colorful palette. And this question really stumped me Not because I had too many options, because I had too few options. I have almost no half neutral, half colorful palettes. I have neutral palettes and I have colorful palettes. I think that's because I just don't like mixing the two together. I'll wear a neutral look or I'll wear a colorful look, but I almost never want like a neutral crease with a pop of shimmer on the lid. That's just not my vibe. I like either going all out or keeping it really chill. So I had to really investigate my palette collection. Anyways, this is the BH Cosmetics 1991 palette by Alicia Marie, who is a German YouTuber who I watch from time to time when I'm trying to brush up on my German, which is pretty much non-existent, but I can follow along with makeup, so that's why I watch them. So this is the palette. I don't believe it's available anymore, but as you can see, the bottom row is all mattes, and they're mostly on the either neutral or cool tone, with the exception of this lovely mustard. And then the top row is all duochromes. So we have some pinks, some purples, of course the traditional green-brown type pigment, darker purples, and then some brighter pinks. And this is a fabulous palette, another one that I want to reach for more in my collection. A palette that I've used more than I thought I would. This is the Dose of Colors Marvelous Mauves, and that's what it looks like. I even have a little pan here on that second shade. When I got this, I was expecting to enjoy it. It's a nice neutral mauve palette, but I wasn't expecting for it to become almost a go-to kind of neutral palette for me. It's all mattes. They all complement each other because they're in the same color family. So if I'm in a rush and I want something, this is an excellent palette to go to if I don't feel like being super creative or thinking too hard. So it's definitely something I've used quite a bit and something that I expect to use even more. Next up, we have a palette you bought just for the packaging. I'm pretty confident in my collection. I don't have any palettes that are solely purchased for the packaging, but definitely the palettes in my collection that have the best packaging and who I definitely look out for their collections for their packaging is Kaleidos. These are the Futurism palettes. I have 1, 3, 4, and 5. And these are excellent quality. I love all of the formulas on here. They're so good. And their packaging just knocks it out of the park every time. They're just so beautiful. Question 7. A palette that you like the shimmers more than the mattes. This is the Tokyo Harajuku palette by Nomad Cosmetics. This is what the palette looks like if you haven't seen before, and even on camera you can see how special these shimmers are. This palette has almost a Super Shock wet formula to it. They're beautiful. So you can already see on my fingers, I'll swatch 3 shimmers. They're so special. We have duochromes, they're shiny, they're sparkly, they're gorgeous. And then we have the mattes. The mattes are pastel and there's just no comparison. And they're almost all like a satiny kind of formula. You can see that in the pink, it's a little tiny bit reflective. There's just no question that the shimmers, I think, in this palette far exceed the quality of the mattes. By far. Question 8. We talked about shimmers, now it's time to talk about mattes. This is a palette you like the mattes more than the shimmers. This is the ABH Sultry palette. This is a cool tone palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and you can see that in the mattes. We have nice matte cool toned, some are neutral, some are cool toned, but it's a lovely neutral palette for someone like me who really doesn't like warm tones. And they're good quality. It's Anastasia. The original palettes from Anastasia do have good quality shadows. Now let's talk about these shimmers. Now I'm not going to harp on the quality of the shimmers because the quality is lovely. What I'm going to harp on is the tone of the shimmers. For being a cool toned palette, almost all of the shimmers are bronze or gold. And in my personal opinion, when I'm looking for a cool tone palette, I would like cool tone shimmers. The only cool tone shimmers that we really have, we have Cyborg, which is a true silver, and Pearl, which is sort of a champagne kind of a shade. And these two are the only real cool tones in the shimmer formula in the palette. We do have, what the heck, one more shimmer. Rose Quartz. I mean, it's a pinky gold. It's not exactly cool tone either. And that is my problem with this palette. If this palette had slightly different shimmers, this would probably be my favorite palette ever. Because I love cool tones. And the mattes are great. They're a great formula. They're very easy to use. But every time I reach for this, or want to reach for this, I talk myself out of it, or I have to reach for something else, because all of these shimmers are not what I want when I want to use this palette. And it's really unfortunate. Next, for question 9, I'm going to sound a bit like a broken record. A palette that happily surprised you. Every single palette tag, I have to talk about these so many times. These are the Kaleidos Futurism palettes, and I love them. Now, happily surprised. Let's dig into this. So, when I wanted to buy these palettes, I was not expecting to be disappointed. I had heard good things about the quality of the brand, and I thought they were going to be good. What I did not expect was for them to be friggin' amazing, and for them to be my favorite palettes, which makes me very happy. We have beautiful mattes, we have beautiful shimmers, they're gorgeous, the color stories are fabulous, and I always have to swatch these shades from the Futurism Volume 4. This pink and this orange. Oh my goodness. I don't even like orange. Look how gorgeous that is. It's beautiful. I don't even really like pink either. Have you ever seen me wear pink? Not often. And so these are just, they're knockouts. There's no other way to say it. If you like any of these color stories, even the new Escape Pod palette, if you like any of them, I would suggest you go for it. They have duochromes, they have metallics, they have these really unique special shades, and I can't say enough good things about them. Now this leads us into question 10. The last question is a palette with the most unique color story. And for this, we're going to break out the Futurism 5 from Kaleidos, because how many neutral with a pop of teal palettes have you seen in the past 3 years? Yes, that's right, a gazillion. How many teal palettes with a pop of neutral have you seen? This one. This is the only teal color story I have ever seen that even looks beautiful. It's amazing. It's fabulous. Again, we have that outstanding shimmer formula, and we have a very complementary orange tangerine shade. To go with it, we have this lovely deep brown for those neutral lovers to deepen it up. There are hardly any other color stories remotely similar to this. Yes, I could go into a very, very colorful palette with different colors, with a yellow, a purple, a blue, whatever. They could be called unique, but on the market, there are lots of really random color theory kind of palettes. This is so concise and so perfect. And I have never seen another color story like this one. Alright, this is the conclusion of the video. We are done talking about Kaleidos palettes for the time being. I hate that all of my tags, I have to add those palettes in, but I would be lying if I didn't. They're fabulous. And I don't want to rag on any of the other palettes in my collection because I do enjoy all of them. If I don't like it, I get rid of it. So let me know down below if you've done this tag, if you have any thoughts on what your answers would be for these questions. Don't forget to like and hit subscribe if you want to. Ring the bell to become a Pavlovian dog. I will see you next time. Bye!